Hello, my stars, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Basil, and today I will be reading Come Clean by number 7 on AO3. So I hope you enjoy. Now let's get straight into it. So here's the summary. Vigilante Izuku and pro hero Eraserhead talk on a rooftop. More than just Izuku and Shota than their other personas, though. Just a quick trigger warning. This does talk about like self-harm and things like that. So if you get triggered by these kinds of things or don't like having that mentioned, click off this video because this will mostly be about that. But anyways, let's get right into it. Hey, Eraser, the vigilante said quietly, not turning away from where he sat facing the skyline of their city. What is it, kid? The hero inquired, glancing over at the kid that was in every way that mattered his kid. It had been a quiet night for the two of them. Not quiet in the sense that there was less criminal activity, but quiet because the kid was clearly thinking hard about something. He wasn't as snarky as usual. The hero didn't want to push him, and knew that when he was ready, the vigilante would tell him what was wrong. The kid had been getting better at that. I, I did something bad, he whispered, shrinking in on himself and pointedly looking away from Eraser. Izuku, kid, I'm going to need more information than that, he said calmly, trying to stop his panicked thoughts. He knew the kid wouldn't intentionally hurt anyone, but the list of illegal activities he was willing to partake in to bring down bad people was extensive and concerning. I I don't think it's bad. It's just generally seen as bad, but like it's not going to affect anyone, so it doesn't really matter. I just know that it'll matter to you, which is why I kind of feel bad that I did it, but not really. Like I don't regret doing it, but I feel bad about how it'll make you feel, which sort of makes me want to do it again because I feel bad, but not do it again because that'll make it worse. But it kind of makes it better. So I guess if I keep doing it, it it it, it will even out. But like the guilt will probably outweigh any relief I get. But if you don't know, then I won't have to feel bad. So I won't have to feel so bad. But I'm an idiot because then I shouldn't have even said anything. But Izuku, Shota said, cutting off the kid's rambling in a confused panic. He spoke slowly and calmly. You are my kid, and I will care about and love you no matter what. What did you do? There was a long moment of silence, stretching for what felt like an infinity, before Izuku stiffened. He took a deep breath and let his anxiousness fade away to near non-existence. It was replaced by the same calm and easy concealed empathy that Izuku held when they first met. As the kid moved, the tiniest whisper in the back of Shota's mind got louder, and he violently shoved it away because that wouldn't be the case. Izuku continued his easy movements, and just like that, it was the case. Just like that, the tiny, terrible, dreaded suspicion that Shota held since the first time he saw the kid risk his life so easily for a stranger was true, and it hurt so much more than anything he'd felt in years. It hurt, and he couldn't let it show, because that would make it worse for his kid. I I haven't since before you brought me that first bento, Izuku whispered into the silence. But this morning, I just. He trailed off, lifting his head so that he didn't have to look at the wounds anymore, and he finally looked into Shota's eyes before simply shrugging. He was so calm about it, only a little anxious, worried about Shota's reaction, and Shota was shocked as he quickly put the information together. He gave Izuku the first bento 7 months ago. His kid had been clean for 7 months, and now here he was, apathetically showing off the deep cuts in his arms. They were clean cuts, straight lines going across the inside of his bicep, surrounded by dozens of faded pink scars. They'd been cleaned up well and had clearly been bound earlier to help them close faster. There wasn't anything for Shota to do then except stare at the marred skin of his child. He wasn't sure of what he could do to help. He'd been where Izuku was once, but he'd moved past it before anyone knew, before they'd been discovered by his best friend, who said nothing of them, although definitely seeing them, until Shota was ready. But he was here now to help him. His kid wouldn't have to work through his pain on his own. Shota had sworn to himself that he'd never let his kid be alone like that. "I'm going to hug you now," Shota mumbled, pulling Izuku to his chest. The kid tensed up for a moment, before allowing himself to relax and just be held. "I shouldn't have spoken, huh?" he said quietly into Shota's chest. The hero tightened his grip just enough to be noticed and shook his head. "I'm glad you spoke," Shota replied. "Please, always, always speak to me. We're gonna figure this out. You're not alone. Okay, kid? You're never gonna be alone again." I. Izuku started, his voice cutting out abruptly. He swallowed, taking in a breath that sounded close to a sniffle. "Thank you," he whispered, and Shota knew just how deeply he meant those words. They stayed like that for hours, just sitting on a rooftop together until the Vigilante, Izuku, his kid, fell asleep. And even then, Shota stayed. He wasn't going anywhere. Okay, my stars. That was the end of that fic. It was really emotional, and if you couldn't tell, I have been posting kind of emotional fics, angsty ones, for now. I'm trying to find some good fluff and crack ones that I can post, but for now you'll be getting angst because I have a couple more lined up. But after that, I'll start getting into the funny ones and fluff ones. So don't worry about that. But some things about this fic is I like how they're mentioning this topic because it can be a really heavy topic, and it already does get a lot of coverage with mental health and that, but it's always nice to see when it's represented even in things like fics and things like that, because people struggle a lot with these kinds of things. And then also, I really liked how we can see how much Izuku trusted Shota and how much Shota cared about Izuku. I just really like that kind of dynamic between them. But yeah, that's mostly all I had to say about this fic. It was really nice but very emotional. But yeah, if any of you guys have any fic recommendations that you would like to see me do on this channel, you can put them in the comments and I would love to see them. My Discord server and socials are in the description down below. You can go check them out. But that's the end of the video now, so I hope to see you in another video. Bye, my stars!